So once again, Bayern Munich were champions over in the Bundesliga, but of course, just around the corner, we have the start of a brand new squeaky clean season. Will Bayern go again with a new manager, or will it be someone else? Well, today, we're going to find out. With an early door prediction video today. We'll take a look at the 2021-2022 Bundesliga campaign, and we'll get to that in just one second. If you're new to the channel, where the heck have you been, boys? Smash your subscribe button to keep your bang out to date with all things Bundesliga related, Blackburn Rovers related. Woo! Football related, we're going to know here very, very early in the morning. That's right, I am recording this on the 1st of June. Of course, looking forward to the new campaign out in the Bundesliga, but of course we've got the small matter of the international scene, and of course we get to the Bundesliga in just a second. Of course, big shout out to the VIPs. They are the Patreons. Thank you for your continued support as we try to build on this on the platform in the summer, heading forward to the new season. Of course, that's right. But yes, I am looking forward to the new campaign. A lot of managerial merry-go-round going on in the Bundesliga, which could make up for a very, very, very interesting campaign. Of course. So what we're going to do right here, right now, is going to start from the middle, work our way all the way down, and then of course we're going to do the top half of the table to reveal our winners. So let's waste no more time and have a little crack at it. Then shall we kick it all off right smack dab in the middle into 10th. That's right, 18-team division over in the Bundesliga, and we start in 10th with Stuttgart. That's right, Stuttgart did finish last season's campaign in 9th, so I do anticipate maybe a little bit of a hangover from their first season back in the top 5, which was just last season. Comfortably finishing in 9th as well. When I say comfortably, it was them and Freiburg, so it was only narrowly separated by goal difference. And again, good, strong first campaign. I just feel next season they're going to have a bit of a second season syndrome, so they can go back a couple of steps. Ultimately, they're finishing off in mid-table, which again, I think they will be content with that. So no major hangovers for them next season, early doors anyway. Into 11th, I'm going with a team that I usually pick to struggle, and that is Freiburg. Again, pretty much the carbon copy of the final of last season's table. Of course, I did have last season that Stuttgart did finish in 9th, and I have them in 10th. And of course, Freiburg did finish in 10th last season. I do have them in 11th this time around. Again, going one step back, I do think there were some teams below them that are going to kind of come back a bit more stronger this campaign. There's been no major upsets in regard to personnel for Freiburg, so I do anticipate just keeping it steady, keeping the ship steady, and again maybe going again, of course, grinding up the table. But unfortunately, this time I am predicting them to be safety comfortably as well. No problems into 11th. How about 12th? Well, we're going to go with Mainz on this one. That's right. Last season they actually finished in 12th, so pretty much keeping it as you were. And again, they are a team that are usually picked to struggle. I have them in the relegation campaign, or at least in that relegation playoff final, season in, season out. But today, this heading into the new season, I've seen the light, boys, because I've seen the bloody light. The Mainz are, of course, fighters. They've got that dogged spirit, of course. Formerly Klopp boys, but now they are their own beast. And again, they showed that desire at the back end of the last campaign to grind it out and get themselves up and at them, and finishing in 12th last season. So I think that they'll learn from their mistakes, and they won't be a relegation or in that relegation conversation for too long. I think they will struggle initially at parts of the season, but ultimately they will finish up into 12th. How about 13th? Goodness gracious me, it's like I've just looked at the bloody table. It is Augsburg. That's right. Believe me, it does change up, of course, as we get further down the number. So Augsburg, this campaign, they actually finished in 13th place last campaign as well, with 36 points on the board as well. Not the greatest end of the season, losing 4 of the past 5, but they'll head into the new season again. No major shake-ups with personnel, so they'll be as you were, really. I don't anticipate any more advances in regards to the positioning of the table. So for me, comfortably 13th is going to be okay for Augsburg. There's going to be nowhere near that relegation zone ultimately, and again, but nowhere near that top end of the table. So a season of safety, and again, season of transition. But I think each and every season, just like Freiburg, just like some of the other teams in and around this area, just being in this division in the top 5 of Germany is paramount for them. Is safety. So they need to keep on doing that. And I think they'll take that 13th spot all day long. Of course, they would like more than that, but I thought that ain't going to happen. Into 14th now. Here we go. A bit of a shake-up. We have got one of the promoted seeds. I'm going to go with VfL Bochum. That's right, new to the scene, coming through the Zweite Bundesliga just this past campaign. campaign, and I see them hanging on a little bit. I do see I feel there's actually weaker teams in this division when compared to Bochum. Of course, first season back, they are a familiar name to the Bundesliga. They've been there before. They're not a newbie come out of nowhere. So I do anticipate them to hang on with all their might this coming campaign. So they will be in that relegation discussion. And again, if you looked at last season, some of the teams that were in that relegation discussion did not really secure safety until the final couple of games of the season. I do anticipate a similar sort of fight for Bochum. They might be in that 17th or 18th spot for a good part of the season, but ultimately I think they'll have the quality or have the desire to stick around in the campaign for another season. So for me, I'm going with Bochum into 14th. Into 15th now, we're going to go with FC Köln. That's right. They were strugglers last time around, ultimately finishing in 16th. But they're going to go. I'm going to give them one better this time around. Of course, they did go through that relegation playoff and ultimately winning total with a 5-1 win, second leg over Holstein Kiel to deny them a shot in the Bundesliga themselves. But so Köln will stick around, which credit to them. And again, I think they'll learn from their mistakes a little bit, and of course maybe move the change somewhat to go to 15th, and of course avoid any relegation heartache or drama that they did experience this campaign. So for me, I'm going to go with 15th for FC Köln. That's right. So into 16th spot we go now with, of course, another newbie. No, it's not newbie. It's of course Hertha Berlin. That's right. And again, they'll be pushed into a bit of a relegation quandary. Again, just like Köln this past season, into that relegation playoff, and they'll have to decide their own fate via that back door there. They looked very, very wobbly at times last season. I might be reading between the lines, and again, these are my earlier predictions, so I might have to revisit this later on and see how they do transfer wise, if they do make things a little bit more reassured across the board. But I do see them to struggle this campaign and ultimately be in that relegation playoff, and of course have to dig themselves out of the trench themselves. Ultimately, I think they will probably, if they do end up in the playoff, they'll be safe as houses and they'll be okay, just like Köln. And ultimately we'll only see two teams go down. And speaking of going down into 17th, we have another one of the new boys. It's Greuther Fürth. That's right, of course, coming through the Zweite Bundesliga last campaign. This time around, they're going to go straight back down. Of course, they'll only spend the one season in the Bundesliga before they relegated back to the second tier of German football. Of course, Stefan Littl is the manager as of right here, right now. And again, it could change. I doubt it will change. I think he'll still be there, of course, next time. I don't know too much about Greuther Fürth, but I just think they're going to come with a bit of weight on their shoulders, a bit of expectation, but I think they're going to fluff their lines and go straight back down. And joining them going down will be last season's survival masters. Arminia Bielefeld, of course, a bit near and dear to my heart, of course, a bit of a local team when I was living back in Germany, of course, just down the road, 30 minutes down the road. So I was surprised, and of course I really wanted them to stick around this past season, and they did just that, with of course a couple of surprise relegations last time around. So Arminia Bielefeld, I think it's going to be too much for them to stick around this campaign, and they're going to be in that mix alongside Greuther Fürth, alongside Hertha Berlin, and of course Köln as well. Those four teams probably are duking it out for those to avoid those two relegation spots. But I think Arminia Bielefeld will go down this time around, and go back down to the second tier of German football. Of course, I did not mention about FC Köln's managerial change. Stefan Baumgart has come in to change over the reins and be the new manager heading into the new season. But anyway, let's take a look at this top half, of course, starting with number 9. That's right, and that is Union Bielefeld. Union Bielefeld coming in, of course, finishing 7th last time. I do anticipate them to go back a little bit. I am actually just gobsmacked at the progression they have made over the past couple of seasons in the top flight, and forever they just seem to be getting better and better. I do anticipate a bit of a hangover, not a major hangover, but just a little bit of a backward step, because I do feel the lower top end of the table, from the 4th to the 9th is quite tight. It is narrow margins to break into that pack, and I think they were I wouldn't say lucky, but they were very, very, they took their chances last time around to finish it in 7th. And again, they're not too far off a top 6 spot, and again, not too far from a spot in Europe. They might even have qualified for Europe through the old conference thing. I don't know. But Union Berlin, I think they're just going to have a cup. If they have qualified, that will actually strengthen my case for them to finishing in 9th, because to have such a small squad, competing into an extra competition like a conference thing will detract from the results. So I think ninth is a safe bet for Union Berlin. Again, these are my early door picks. I'll revisit it once I confirm who is in, who is out of the Conference League. So into 8th spot we have Hoffenheim, of course, finishing in 11th last time around. Good strong end to the campaign as well. Unbeaten the last 5. Of course, keeping a hold of their key personnel would be paramount. Of course, no managerial shake-up in that regard. So I do anticipate much a season of improvement from last time around. Of course, yeah. No, as long as you keep your manager, and of course maybe you just strengthen the personnel, players wise, improve the quality there, I'm sure you're going to see some positive gains. I think Hoffenheim are going to be the biggest receivers of that gain. However, there is another big jumper in the table. Well, actually, a massive jumper further up in the table. I'll reveal that in a minute. But I think Hoffenheim will be content with 8th, and again, just shy of any Europa League spots for them. So another good season of being in the German top flight. Into where do we have 7th now, and it's Eintracht Frankfurt, of course, who did finish in the dizzy heights of 5th last round, so they are in Europa League. This round I think they'll have a bit of a hangover from that. It's going backwards as well. Also strengthening that cause for a bit of a degrade is the change of manager. Of course, Adi Hüttner, former manager, has gone to Borussia Mönchengladbach, and in has come Oliver Glasner from Wolfsburg. That would probably be considered, I don't know, a sideways step. Not really. You've actually, that's quite a balmy move for the manager himself, giving up Champions League football with Wolfsburg and going to the to Europa League with Eintracht Frankfurt. Maybe there's more money on the line. Maybe it's a longer contract. I don't know. But I think just that first initial season in a new environment for the manager is going to have a bit of a degrade on that. So I've gone there for them to finish in 7th. And it'll be interesting to see their transfer business as well, Frankfurt. Of course, they brought in Matey Boy from Real Madrid. Of course, did score some goals, but not enough. And of course, Silva got plenty of goals as well. And of course, attracted some attention from Manchester City and others. So we'll see how they go. So I do think it's going to be a transitional season for Frankfurt. New manager. And again, a lot of question marks over their key personnel moving forward. Into 6, we have Bayer Leverkusen. That's right. Leverkusen, once again, also change of management. Looking forward to the new season. Hans Wolf was in charge for the best part of the last season. Gerard Serillo has come in, of course, the Swiss man, so he will be new to the scene as well. And again, another question marks about the personnel for Leverkusen, trying to keep a hold of their key figures will be paramount. They did finish it in 6th, so no real change there. A bit of a season of stability, just keeping it as you were, and maybe push for those top 3, top 4 spots, whatever it is. Again, they've got some really exciting youngsters. Leverkusen, that's the way they do it these days. They've got a young gun, a young 17-year-old, I can't remember his name, Schick or something like that. Schick is the Czech striker, but they've got another young gun who's kind of come in to fill the Havertz role, and he was unfortunate not to make the Euro squad. So again, they've got the key personnel by Leverkusen. I do anticipate them to be in the mix for Europa League spots, so maybe even the Champions League as well. So good, no major change there for 6. Into 5th spot, we have, of course, last season's big winners. It was Wolfsburg, that's right, of course. Great season for them, Champions League football, but can they repeat it two seasons in a row? Probably not. Big loss for them is their manager Oliver Glasner has gone from Champions League football to Europa League, and there are question marks as to who is going to come in to take over the reins. I am recording this on the 1st of June, and right here, right now, I don't know the appointment at Wolfsburg, so we'll have to keep an eye on that. It was a sort of shot in the dark that Wolfsburg did manage to get into the Champions League, so credit to them. I do think that extra responsibility or the time on the field is going to cost them in the end. Not majorly, of course. I think their season in, season out would love to get into the top 6, and for them to finish it in the 5th spot, we ain't going to be too much of a discontent, especially with a season in the Champions League to keep them preoccupied as well. So ultimately, I think they're going to be content with the 5th spot. Again, we'll have to see who comes in as management for Wolfsburg in the end. Into 4th now, a bit of a change here. We have RB Leipzig, that's right. And again, I think they're going to be happy with 4th spot. I know they want to be pushing for the title, but the new manager, Jesse March, has come in, taking over Julian Argosman, who has been the face of the place for a good part the last few years. So big change in that regard. I have been impressed with Jesse March. I've always thought since that little insight into the dressing room at RB Salzburg, it showed what kind of key man he is. He is an American, but fluent in German. He knows what it is. He knows the RB system, of course, in Salzburg. It's how they do it. It's how they operate. Of course, if anyone's really working their asses off in RB Salzburg, they'll get a crack at RB Leipzig. It's the conveyor belt that it is. And I think he'll come in. He'll have a bit of a struggle adapting to the Bundesliga. It is different than the Austrian league, and I do think that it'll be a season of just keeping where you are. And of course, new faces coming in, but Brian Brobbery as well, coming in from Ajax, I think, or he's coming from the Eredivisie anyway. So another key person there, which again will take a little bit of time to get up to speed. But for me, I think RB Leipzig should be happy with fourth as long as they remain in that Champions League mix. They should be way happy about that. Into third, though, biggest winners for me is, of course, Borussia Mönchengladbach. Going bold on this one. They are my team. Of course, I've got a bit of a soft spot, a massive soft spot for them. I was born just down the road from there, so they're near and dear to my heart. My mother supports them and everything. Of course, new management, and then they did lose Marco Rosa, which looked like it was a kick in the bollocks, of course, for them. Got them in the Champions League the season prior, but this past season, with him in there, of course, it just detracted from their performance, ultimately finishing in, what was it, 8th, something like that. So not a great season for Gladbach, and not a great season for Rosa on his resume, if you want to look at it like that. He will go on to be a better coach, of course, at Dortmund, but really, I'm sure he wasn't giving himself 100% with Mönchengladbach once he made the announcement way back in Feb that he was going to switch gears and go to Dortmund. But Hanny Hunter's coming in, of course, from Frankfurt. Of course, good season this past season, finishing in the top 5, and I think that's what Gladbach want. They want at least European football season in, season out. Not necessarily Champions League, but definitely competing in the top 6. I'm going to go with a bold first season with Adi Hüttner in charge, finishing in 3rd and comfortably within the Champions League ranks. And then into the top 2, of course, it is as you would expect, Dortmund or, of course, Bayern. Of course, Dortmund finishing last season in 3rd, Bayern finishing in 1st. Of course, big managerial shake-up as well in those top 2 teams. Of course, coming in for Dortmund into 2nd for me. That's right, Marco Rosa is coming in, of course, taking over from Edin Terzic, who of course was the interim manager back end of last season. So he will come, Rosa will come in to try and take up the reins and again bring that moment, that optimism, that energy that made Borussia Mönchengladbach a team to fear a couple of seasons back. I think they're going to fall short again and again. Just to be fair, this past season the concerns with them getting the Champions League was their major focus. They did tremendously well with Terzic in charge in the Champions League. Of course, maybe even flattered to take out to Manchester City along the way, but of course ultimately failing in that regard. But I think they'll finish it in 2nd with Rosa to come in, and again a bit of a transitional season. I do think there is a title in the wings for Borussia Dortmund over the next couple of seasons. I just don't think it's going to be this next one. And then finally, of course, it is Bayern. Of course, Hans-Dieter Flick was the governor in charge for the past season and 2 seasons, of course, and he won everything he could win there. Of course, win the Bundesliga, win the Champions League, and now has gone over to take over the German national team. But of course, Nagelsmann's come in, the face of the place, of course, the face of RB Leipzig. Still a young gun, still only 33 years of age, absolutely balmy, and of course has done a tremendous job with Hoffenheim. Then he took over Leipzig, and now he's taken over, of course, Bayern. So this is his 3rd appointment, still only 33. He is going to get that title, and he's going to get that title this season, of course, yes. And again, this could be a dynasty here for Julian Argosman. He's only 33. He could be here for 20 years and he'll be 53 years of age and still have a whole world of football. I do anticipate him to be, of course, top manager in Germany for the next 10 years, and then maybe we'll take over from Hansi Flick as, of course, Germany national coach in a few World Cups time. So it's exciting times for Nagelsmann. I do anticipate a good, strong season for Bayern, as you were, really. I would love to see a change, of course, of title winner. I'd like to see that happen, but I don't think it's going to be. I think Bayern are just too strong at the moment. But this could be the season that there could be a bit of a hiccup. Of course, Nagelsmann new to the scene. Would they allow him a 2nd or a 3rd spot finish in his first season in charge? I don't know. I think it could be. I think he needs to win. I think he needs to win the title to save his face. But it will be a bit harsh, very harsh if Bayern were to oust him if he was to be finishing in 2nd or 3rd in his first season as the juggernaut that is Bayern. But anyway, it's exciting. I do think they'll be all right. Of course, the future of Lewandowski is massive. If he does leave, what would happen in regard to who would fill the void for those goals? Because there are a lot of goals that would be missing from Bayern next season. But for me, I still think they'll have enough quality to finishing in top spot in the end. So first for me, for Bayern, and of course, there it is, all in glory, the table for you from first all the way down to 80th. What do you think? Do you agree or disagree? Let me know your thoughts and opinions in the old comment section down below. Also, check out the links in the old description on Twitter, Twitch, Facebook, and of course Patreon as well. If you want to support the channel in another way, that's the best place to do it. From as little as $1 all the way up to as much as you like. You can become the latest brother from another mother. Also, we've got Euro 2020 content, of course, right around the corner. Looking forward to that. And of course, Copa America as well. Keep an eye on your South American buddies. So make sure you stop by for all of those content right here on the channel. But yes, let me know your opinions in the comment section about the table, what you think, what you expect, and what you're looking forward to. But until then, I'll see you soon for the next.